All right, guys. So my name is Rahul. I'm a product design intern at Zomato, and I'm going to be taking you guys through how you guys can get your internship with some amazing tips and tricks. So this workshop is mostly going to be about how are interns also really important part of companies and how I can give you some helpful tricks so that you can use them to earn your internship. So just a little bit about me. I'm an interaction design student at PS University, and I'm currently interning at Zomato. And I was gonna be one of those engineering kids, and luckily my dad found a ad for design on the IIT uh, examination for design, which is called Seed. And I was like, hey, okay, what is this about? And then I just dived deep into design. I just realized that I've been doing it since my childhood. I've been drawing, I've been trying to improve things, but I didn't know this was a profession. So then I just started to take a course on design in PS University. So I'm doing a bachelor's right now, and it's been amazing ever since. I love what I do, and I hope I can help you guys get your dream internship or dream job soon. So without further ado, let's just get in. So first of all, I just like to say hi, guys. Just I hope you guys are safe and sound. It's a really tough time, and I just hope that you guys are sanitized and you guys take care of yourself right now. What I might say in this presentation might be a little bit overwhelming. Don't think that you have to use this time to become better. It's okay to take a day off. It's okay to relax because it's been exhaustive for everyone. So yes, guys, I'm gonna start on how to land a design internship. So before we get in, a lot of people might ask that is there really a requirement for designers right now? Because you see that you might be saying that I'm not getting any job or any internship. So is there actually a requirement? So let me tell you that India requires a surplus of 62,000 designers by 2020. All right, but we produce only 5,000 design graduates per year because every design college has a very limited intake. So the NIDs, the IITs, they take only 15 to 30 students per batch. All right. So competitively, India is not producing as many designers as it needs. Like for engineering, we have lakhs and lakhs of students who apply and get into colleges, but for design, there are not many colleges. So you see a lot of self-taught designers who work their way up just because they love the profession. All right. So here's a small graph on the number of studios and which are growing in India. So there are totally around 170 studios in these many places. So it's really amazing how design is having a rapid growth in India. And wherever you're from, I'm sure you guys are from different places. I'm pretty sure that there's something or other in the city which has design, whether it's interaction design, graphic design, fashion design. There's something for everyone, right? So now coming to why do businesses need interns or why do they hire interns in the first place? All right, so it's basically five basic points. So basically, interns have energy. So what I mean by this is when somebody fresh or new comes, they come with new possibilities, new ideas, thinking out of the box, rather than what people who are already in the full time. Uh, their ideas get stagnant, and they're not able to think of new things. That's why interns provide the fresh energy, and they're inexpensive, right? Interns are not paid that much because companies feel that they're offering exposure and experience, which is valid. But yeah, they come in cheap, and like I mentioned, interns have fresh ideas. And another thing why businesses hire interns is to check whether the candidate is valid for a full time. So it's a very good way to test the candidate's knowledge, if he's working hard, how he fits in the team, and it's a easy way for them to get approval and then hire them for full time. And also interns have no limits, right? Because interns try to work hard. They feel like if I do well, they might offer me a full time job. I have to work. So interns work with no limits. So this is why businesses need interns. All right. And now I'm going to talk about why are internships helpful for you guys and why you guys might or should do an internship. Obviously, first is experience and exposure. So for a lot of my design students and people who are interested in doing internships, you don't learn this in colleges. We learn about design, but we don't know how to implement it in the industry. So experience and exposure to the industry and the work you do in the industry is really important. You learn more about yourself. You learn that you can always push yourself a little bit more to get the achieved solution. Collaboration, guys, this is one of the most important things that I've learned. I used to be an introvert. I could not talk to my new teammates. I had trouble because I was really shy, because I used to only talk to my design friends and my buddies. But collaboration is a must learn skill in the coming years, because you need to communicate in order to get the best solution. Teamwork always wins, guys. And the best part of all this is a stipend. I mean, you get paid for doing it. You can get a lot of money and you can buy whatever you want. You don't have to have the guilt of asking your mom, your dad. It's all money for you, and it's hard earned money. So I think you realize the value of money once you do your first internship. So this is something really cool. So even it's working for money, I mean, everybody works, nobody works for free, right? So it's a really good way to earn some cash and help out your mom, dad, or get something for someone what you really wanted. All right, so now I'm gonna start on what you should ask yourself before getting started, before looking for an internship. Some of these questions you could ask yourself before starting. So first of all, what is your motivation for doing it? Like, why are you doing this internship? Do you want to learn something new? Do you want to earn some money? Do you want to work with your favorite mentor who's going to be interning or mentoring you? So just look at why you want to do this and just give a reason for yourself. Like, okay, like why do I need to do it? Second question is, what field do you want to intern in, right? Because now design is varied and has a lot of sectors. All right, so this is just a small graph on how design is bifurcated in India. So something related to homes and houses, which is architecture and interior design, is on the left, and these are the mainstream design streams where a lot of people work in. So you need to decide on what you want to do and what you want to try out. So say if you want to try out, if you're not sure if you want to do graphic design or interaction design, you could always do an internship in graphic design and see if you like the process, whether it's something which is in your palette or not, or you want to do something in interaction design, solve other problems. Industrial design is where you want to make products or do something else. So there are a lot of streams, guys, and there's plenty to choose from. So don't hesitate to try out what you want. Where do you want to work? So what type of company are you looking for? Or if you have a dream company you want to work for, what are the steps to take for it? So as a designer, there are 4 types of companies you can work for. One is design studios. So design studios are basically a bunch of designers, a community of designers who get outside clients, and you work with a bunch of designers. So the structure is very process driven, and there are a lot of design decisions which you might have to take. All right, and you work on different projects for different clients. So if you're someone who doesn't like working on one product or one challenge, if you want different challenges from time to time, you got to always aim for design studios so that you get different type of work. Next comes product companies, where their main focus revolves around a product ecosystem, or say Apple, Samsung, Zomato. They revolve around this ecosystem, and they have their own in-house designers, developers, people who do business marketing. So you interact with a lot of people in product companies, and mostly it consists of shipping out a product which is in an ecosystem. So this is what product companies are. And then service companies are similar to design studios, but they also have their own in-house developers. You also have to include business strategies and stuff. A great example is Accenture, IBM, Wipro. All of these guys do service. And other one is freelance or young startups. Like people in IIT Bombay might start a young startup, so they require designers. People who just want freelancers, so people might hire you just to work like freelance on your own. So these are the possibilities you can work for as a designer. These are the 4 streams where you can enter to. So guys, I'm gonna get started on how you can get started from start to finish on how to apply for an internship, what goes on during an interview, and the aftermath. So guys, as designers, we know that your users are very important. You design for your users, right? So in this case, you need to have your design mindset that your recruiters are your users. You need to design for them and to ensure they have the most amazing experience looking at your profile, looking at your portfolio. So always ensure that everything is designed for them and is very easy to read. All right. So what I'd say is get set before you go, get everything ready before applying. There's no point applying when you have a half portfolio, no portfolio, only resume. I got a lot of messages from people saying, hey, here's my resume, but I don't have a portfolio right now. Can I send it later? So that doesn't work, right? It first of all gives a bad impression to who you're sending it to, like you're sending stuff unprepared. So it's always better to get set before you go. So there are three main things which you need to have before applying for an internship. One is a updated resume, updated portfolio, and if possible, you should also have a cover letter so that it gives you an extra edge over everyone else. So I'm going to be taking you through how can you build a really cool resume. So guys, from the notion, what before I ever made a resume, I saw people who used to make 5-page resumes, 4-page resumes, just dumping everything what they've done since their childhood till now. So guys, I feel like recruiters don't have enough time, and they need to see something quick to get to they need to shortlist quick and file in candidates so that they can hire faster. So nobody's going to take the time to read a 5-page or 6-page resume. What you should do is have a clean and crisp resume, which only has your key highlights or your key performances or what you have done recently. All right. So here's a good example of Hiroyama. I'm sorry if I pronounced it wrong. So Hiroyama has a very clean and crisp resume. He has only his education, experience, projects, and interests. So it clearly explains where he's coming from, what work has he done, what are the projects he's worked for, and who is he as a person. All right. So the second thing I would say is, guys, please spell check on your resume. Don't make mistakes, because that also gives a really bad impression to recruiters that you didn't take the effort to spell check and have a good resume. So guys, please do spell check. Emphasize on your contact info, so it's very easy for them to reach out to you. Don't keep it hidden anywhere. So always emphasize on the contact info. Have a mobile friendly CV. So everybody's mobile nowadays. So everybody does most of their work just by looking at their phone. If they see a mail, they're probably going to open it to the mobile first. So you want to ensure that your font sizes you use for a resume are readable on a phone. So I would say keep the minimum at around 13 to 14 pixels if you're writing for your resume. That should be the minimum size you should be using for your body, and a little bit bigger fonts for the headings, so around 16 to 17 pixels, so that you can ensure that it's readable on a mobile phone and it's not hard to read. And also add a touch of your personal identity. Like over here, he's illustrated himself with a cat, so it speaks a story about him, right? He likes watching anime. He's probably more of an illustrative person, and you should always try to incorporate your own personal identity. I mean, it really makes your resume stand out. So after resume, what things are going to be shown is your portfolio. So after maybe shortlisting through your resume, they might look through your portfolio. Okay, so this person looks interesting. I'll look at his portfolio. So key important tips, guys, for portfolios: have a website or a Behance page. All right. The reason why I'm saying this is because PDFs are very lengthy. They're very heavy in size. All right, and nobody's going to take the effort to download a 40-50 MB PDF and go through all the slides. All right. So what you just so what's good about a website or Behance is the person viewing your portfolio can look at what projects he wants to look at. He doesn't have to go from start to finish. So I'd recommend if you guys could make a website, but if you have a Behance profile, that's still fine. But if you want to take the extra effort, it's always going to be worth it because the website looks more professional. All right. So the second thing what you want to do is focus on your best work. All right. Don't show them 100 projects. Give them 5 of your best work to choose from, and then they'll pick one and then they'll rate it according to their choice. All right. Have your own personal brand and touch. So guys, what I spoke about in the resume, that you should have your own personal touch. Try to incorporate in your website or in your Behance portfolio something which speaks to you and is unique about you. all right? Because everybody does good work nowadays. Companies also look for people whose personalities match yourself. So own your personal brand and show off, guys. It's the time to show off. Don't feel shy for showing any achievements. It's amazing if anyone shared your work, some unpopular, just put it in your portfolio. Trust me, guys, it's gonna help. So I'm just gonna take you through my portfolio now. So it's called rahulgoredesign.com. So here I wanted to create like a very minimalistic and modern look, try to keep up the trends, and cleanly explain where I work from. These are the different type of projects I have. So according to their wanting or their selection, they could see what they want. So here I've clicked on one portfolio, and so here I am showing my whole process, guys. So in your portfolio, you should have at least one case study where you show your entire process so they know how you work. So for an intern, the final solution may not be important because you're an intern, right? You can make mistakes. What they're looking for is people who are willing to show their work and people who are willing to take feedback. So here I've shown my whole process, what I do. I've tried to tell it like a story. Like I went to the zoo, I did my research, my prototyping, my UI design. So yeah, so this is what I made for my portfolio. Um, Another tip is always try to create something which has a wow factor. So I made like a AR prototype. I feel like this is what got me into Zomato at the end of the day because I stepped out of my way and I made something which is something they won't see from other candidates. And here is my favorite designer, Johnny Pino. He is a product designer at Apple, and he shared my prototype, which I made for the Zoo portfolio. And trust me, guys, if a lot of guys know him, it's going to be a really big kick for you when you put in your portfolio. So always try to put your achievements and show off in your portfolio. There's nothing wrong in that. It's only going to help you. All right, guys. So this is a cover letter. Not a lot of companies ask for cover letters, but even if they do, you should be ready and prepared. And it's always good to send it while you're sending your resume and portfolio as well. So here are a few tips how to make a perfect cover letter. So usually there's a standard heading to who you're sending about you and who you're sending it to, and then your first paragraph should really get them hooked on to read. Tell them why you want to join the company and why are you the perfect fit for the company. What are your key strengths and how you can help improve the design. Um, and then also talk about the projects the company works for and how it interests you, and then have a nice closing, and so something which makes them also feel nice that okay, this person's really serious about coming here, so you might want to consider me. So this is how you can make your own perfect cover letter. All right, guys, so usually when you apply for an internship, they check your resume, they check your portfolio, and if they're interested in you, they're going to call you for an interview, guys. So this is where I also really struggled. As I told you, I was nervous. I didn't like talking to people. I'd rather just avoid it. But interviews are a way of checking who you are and how you are as a person and if you can communicate or not. All right. So a couple of important things to keep in mind while doing your interview. If you have a buddy who's always free, please have a dry run with him. Ask him to ask you questions and formulate your answers. Trust me, guys, it helps a lot. So when you have a dry run, you already answer these questions, and when the interviewer asks you, you're already prepared. All right. Keep a poised body language. So what you want to do is you want to remain confident. If you're sitting, if it's an in-house interview, you want to keep your back upright. Show them that you're calm and composed. I know it's not easy. You're going to be nervous from inside, but you can always show it on the outside. Just have a bit of confidence and believe that you can do it. Emphasize on the positive. So if you're not sure about something, don't say it, because if you're going to say something, they might ask you question on that. So basically, just say what you know and say what you're absolutely positive about. It's okay sometimes you might not know the answer, but taking a breather, just a bit of gap, and then it's okay to answer a bit late. It's fine. It's okay. Nobody's gonna catch you. And close the interview with confidence. So uh, if it's an in-house interview, have a firm handshake. If it's not in-house, you could always ask questions to the interviewee so that he also knows that you're interested, and then always have that smile and spark about you so that they also know that you're confident and stuff. So what are the popular questions people ask during an interview, right? So the first question they're going to ask you is, can you tell us a little about yourself? So they already know your name. So please guys, don't say your name while introducing yourself. Talk about who you are as a person and what you like, what you do for fun, what are your hobbies, and what are the projects you've worked on and stuff. All right. The next question would be, could you take us through some of your work? So like I said, take and present your best work so that you are also confident and they also know that, okay, he's not messing around. What are your interests? So you guys can talk about your interests or any hobbies, or if you're good at sports, always plug stuff which you're good at. And the last question they ask you is, do you have questions for me? So a lot of people might be like, no, okay, I don't think I should ask questions, but it's always really cool if you ask questions. Ask questions on whatever work I'll be getting. What are the projects you guys are working on right now? When I come in, who are the team members? So you can do your research and pick a mentor for yourself. So always do ask questions. So it's always going to help you. So these are some popular questions people ask during interviews. The next part is, how do you stand out as a candidate, right? Because a lot of people will be applying for the same job, but it's you who has to get this internship. So what do you do and how do you stand out? Like I said, present your best work through a story. All right. So when you have your best work, don't present it in the form of just images and text. Try to say it through a story so it makes it more engaging for the audience. All right. Try to present your best work through a story so that it helps people know that, okay, he can also story brand, he can also story tell. It'll be very easy and very good for you to communicate your projects even in the future if you know a good way of storytelling. So storytelling is one skill which I feel like everyone should pick up. Have something for people to be mesmerized. So you need to have like a kick-ass project or something which makes people go, oh, like, oh wow, right? Like for example, I really wanted to plug in that AR prototype because it's different from everyone else. It's something that not most people have in their portfolio. So something which can help people be mesmerized and be amazed by in your portfolio. And I can't stress this enough, guys. Portray your personality through your work. Um, it's gonna speak who you are, and a lot of people will see that you're consistent in portraying what you are. You have like a brand of yours, right? It's really cool to express yourself through that brand. You need to tell people why you connected to this design and why is the reason you did it. So a lot of people will ask you why you did it. So you need to have an answer for everything. So always when you design, there should be a reason why you did it. So why did you choose? Why did you brand yourself this way? So take some time out to think why you made these decisions in your design before jumping and applying, because then it'll help you answer questions based on what they ask. All right, guys. So once you're, so I've told you guys tips and tricks on how you can improve your profile while finding an internship. So how do you find one? That's what I'm gonna start covering right now. So in India, basically there are four ways through which you can look for an internship. So it's LinkedIn, Internshala, TimesJobs.com, and AngelList. There are some more, Naukri.com, but I feel like for internships, these four would be your main, and you'd find everything over here. So
ಪೋಲಿ ತಗೊಂಡು ಹೋಗು, ನಿನಗೆ ತೊಂದರೆ ಮಾಡ್ಬೇಡ, ಹೋಗ ಆ ಕಡೆ.
could you please switch off your mic? Yeah, thank you. Yeah, so basically, you could use Internshala for looking through young startups or work from home internships. You find a lot on Internshala. I did my first two internships there, and LinkedIn is amazing tool to network and find 6 month or really cool internships. So I'd say first time on LinkedIn, Internshala, and AngelList also is a really cool platform to look for internships from upcoming startups and stuff. So these four are your main platforms where you can look for internships. So while looking for internships, you're looking through LinkedIn. Post your work, guys. Don't be afraid. A lot of people will reach out. A lot of people see it. So do not be afraid. So post your portfolio, post your work. It's your work, you should be proud about it. If nobody's gonna see your work, nobody's gonna hire you. It's that simple. So post your work, guys. If you have a portfolio you made, if you have a case study project, post online. A lot of people who are hiring look at you and then contact you if you post your work, or if you tell them that, hey, I'm looking for a 6-month internship. This is my portfolio. If you have any openings, please do reach out to me, and I'm sure a lot of you will reach out to you, right? If you're looking for specific companies, and like say if you want to work for some pretty cool companies like Zomato, Hotstar, what you should do is you should not mostly prefer to reach out to design managers, because then they are in a position, they are at a position to see a portfolio, and at the end of the day you're going to be reporting to them, right? So you might want to send it to them so that they can review your portfolio, they can give you feedback, and they can even ask HR to contact you, and then um, get you an internship. So mostly reach out to design managers or recruiters for companies. They will help you out the most. Expand your network, guys. Uh, what helps is if you're active on LinkedIn, the number of connections you grow, the more number of people see your posts. So it's really important to expand your network so that you can reach out to the farthest of people who are looking to hire interns. So it's really important to expand your network as well. If you have the time and if you can, join online communities, head to networking events. So when you head to networking events, you connect with a lot of people, you see what they're doing, you can just ask your design managers, hey, are you hiring? This is my portfolio. It's always good to do it in person because they feel like you have the courage to step up and ask them, and whatever their answer is, I'm sure it'll be nice. Either they have some good feedback for you, or they might even offer you an internship. So it's really cool. Since the lockdown is going on, maybe you could join online communities, attend webinars, just try to get better at yourself, and also try to also interact with other people so that you can grow your network. Last but not least, guys, you've got to work hard. All right. I know that this may sound a bit wrong at this point of time, but it's really really important to work hard. The more you work, the more better your portfolio is gonna get. The more feedback you get, the more work you work on your resume, your portfolio, trying to update your skills, the more you have a chance to stand out. So before I close, I just have some closing tips for you guys. So always give your best while applying. Don't submit a half-filled application. So a lot of companies, to filter out candidates, they have really long forms and really long uh, things you have to fill so that you can apply. So don't submit a half-filled application. Take some time out of your day and then fill out your whole application, and then you have a better chance of acquiring their internship. It's okay to get rejected, because a lot of companies sometimes look for particular kind of candidates. So in design, maybe someone who wants to do design research, he might be preferred more. Someone who is more aesthetically skilled, he can be preferred more. So it's always okay to get rejected. It's I know it feels a bit bad sometimes, but it's okay. And then you can always ask for feedback, and I'm sure a lot of people do reply back. So whenever I've got rejected in the first few times, I made sure that they gave me a good feedback so that I can improve myself and improve my projects. So based on that, I got better, and then you can get better, and then you will see the improvement in the upcoming interviews and job profiles you add. So it's okay to get rejected. Sometimes it's not your fault. Sometimes the company might say that no, we're just looking for a candidate who is more process driven or who is more into research. So it's sometimes it's okay. They're not looking for that particular kind of candidate. Try to get feedback from people in the industry. So when you reach out to people on LinkedIn, it's always cool to just ask them like, "Hey, what do you think about my portfolio? If is there a way you can get feedback?" So it's really cool that a lot of designers and design managers right now online have taken the effort to review portfolios for free, and it's very hard to get their time. Trust me. So it's really cool if you guys see something on LinkedIn. It's okay to show a portfolio, even if you feel it's bad, it's good, right? You're gonna get feedback and you're gonna get better. So it's always cool to get some feedback from people in the industry. Last but not least, guys, believe in yourself. You are awesome. You guys are kick ass. believe that that you're gonna kill it and you gave it your all, and I'm pretty sure that you're gonna get the internship you want. So thank you guys. I hope it was interesting enough, and I hope this would help you get your internship. And if you have any questions, uh, I'll be answering them now.
Yes, sir. There is a question. There are a couple of questions actually. So the first one is, could you give any tips on scoring internships during COVID-19 times?
All right. Okay, Vigat. So what I would say is right now, it's a. I might know it might sound a bit hard. So you can look for markets where there are good, hiring. So say online learning has some really good markets. So you could look for online learning apps if you're taking any interns. Something to do with healthcare, something to do with letting people know like there's a COVID, something something information related to COVID, something which is online mostly. So yeah, you could try for those companies and reach out to those companies to get an internship. Can I read the next question?
Yeah, yeah. You have the screen. Yeah, you can
Yeah.
go forward. Yeah.
Okay, I'll just stop sharing. Yeah. So Niharika, what do you think is the most common and most important skill or quality that recruiters look for when hiring? Um. So as an intern, I feel like it's okay. Like I said, it's okay to make mistakes, but the most important skill or quality people look for is the basically your project and what you've done. And if you have like some pretty cool, what do you say, achievements, that also helps. So I'd say skill or quality is, I think, depends on what the requirement is. So sometimes they say, okay, we need someone who knows Figma, who knows motion design. So unless you don't have those qualities, then I don't think they'll hire you. If you have those qualities, you're in a pretty good spot. So I think it depends on the internship. Okay, Abhinav
Hello.
says, hello.
Sir.
Yeah.
Hello. My question is, if my portfolio is null as a beginner, so how to add feathers to it?
If your portfolio is null, what do you mean by that?
As a beginner, as a
As a
beginner.
beginner. So it's okay. As I said, if you feel like it's not up to the mark, you could always ask any people on LinkedIn for feedback, and then based on that, you could improve your portfolio. Nobody is perfect in the starting, right? Everybody has a starting point, and then they improve. All right.
No, no, what I am saying means, as a beginner, I have
Okay.
nothing. I have no project, no research work.
All
So,
right. All right.
at which field I can commence?
All right. So if you don't have any project, anything, so best thing is would be to start a project. There are so many problems to solve, guys. All designers solve epic problems. So pick up a problem, see how you can solve it, and then go through your process, and then uh, put it in your portfolio. That's what I would say. If you don't have any projects, it's always cool to have your personal projects. There's nothing like it, especially for internships.
Okay.
Sir,
Yeah.
my question is like, I have redesigned the IRCTC app for
Okay.
my personal project.
All right.
So for making the case study, what sections should be included in the case study and what should not be included? Can you be specific for that?
Okay, so what I would say is for a case study, also people would like to um, uh, give only some amount of time, right? They don't have all the time in the world. So what
Yeah.
I would say is, when you do your research, do it extensively, do extensive research. But what you show is should be the key insights or the main point which you have found. All right, so that saves your
Okay.
their time, and it's also very concise and very crisp. So make it as crisp as you can. And for what to show, what not to show, just show your whole process. So say you do some research about the problem, and then you go interview people, and then what insights you
Yeah.
gain from those interviews, and then after getting those insights, you probably brainstorm a lot of solutions, and then from those solutions you pick a few, and then you again either you do ideation, you do wireframing, and then you come to your final concept, which is your final UI design. So
Okay. So should I include the user personas while
yes, personas,
doing the?
user journeys, it's all cool. Whatever is in your process, it's all cool. Um,
Okay.
next question. How do you think a CS student should get started at HCI? So, if anyone's looking to get in design, I think you have a couple of online resources, online courses. You could always get jumped in. What I would say is start with the basics of design, colors, type, basic gestalt theory. So just get comfortable with design, and then you can streamline into moving tools. So guys, learning tools is not actually hard. It hardly takes 20 to 30 minutes to get comfortable with the tool. What matters is your problem solving and how you how can you make design decisions according to the problem you've been given. So you could always start online. There are amazing courses online. There's Interaction Design Foundation. They have amazing courses for you to get started with HCI. All right, Abhinav, I hope that answers your question.
So one more question.
Sure. Yeah.
Like I've read few times that a good user experience is like the person should reach its destination within 3 taps or 3 clicks.
All
So
right.
what do you think about it?
All right. So that people say that as a UX myth. All right. So
Yeah,
obviously people feel that if there's lesser steps to getting from point A to point B, it's the best user experience. Sometimes it's not, right. Sometimes you have to show
yeah,
information to the user, which is really important. All right. So you need to weigh out what is not useful for my user. Am I just adding buttons so that he can click to go from point A to point B, or is it something that I can really skip? So it depends on the solution. I wouldn't say that is 100% true all the time.
okay.
Yeah. Jagrit Srivastava, how did you overcome your shyness? So usually I'm not a shy person around my friends. I am an extrovert. I love talking to people, and lately I love talking to strangers and just talking to them. So I feel like just talk to people, just reach out to new people every day, like on LinkedIn or something. So that's a good way to overcome your shyness. If you're saying shyness while presenting your work, you always have a dry run that definitely helps. Or if you're talking somewhere and if you're presenting something in class, maybe have a person you look at or something. So that's how you can start, right? And then you can start building eye contact. Nobody is perfect in the beginning. So that's how you can overcome your shyness. That's how I did. Tanvi, how much importance do people hiring give to past internships? Some of them do, yes. I would not say no. Some people do look for industry work, what you've done in the industry, and how many months of experience you have, even for internships. But I feel like if you have a really good portfolio and it's something that's better than what people who have done past internships, nothing like it. Um, but that's why I'd recommend if you have the chance, just do an internship so that it could include in your resume and make your profile stand out a bit more. It just shows that you have taken extra effort to do this, so it just shows in your resume. But I feel like if you don't have one, it's okay. It's like it's nothing bad. It's fine. How do we choose projects for our case studies for an intern portfolio if we're not from design school? So, like I said, depending on the company you want to work for, or depending on where you want to work or what field you want to work, you can take up case studies according to those choices. So, say you want to work for a graphic design company, or you want to do graphic designing in your future, you might want to do projects more related to branding, color, typography, packaging, something to show your visual skills. So depending on the project you want, Vinamra, you can choose what type of case studies or projects you want to show. And yeah, hello Rahul, I am a web designer. So how to switch? You can say just how to learn UI UX. Uh, Web designer, UX designer. So a UI UX designer essentially solves problems for mostly for interfaces, which include web and mobile. So I feel like uh, if you want to get into UI UX and more into UX and how do you build experiences and then build aesthetic UI, that like I said, a lot of courses online, a lot of books to read. So just search for something online. Like I'd recommend Dan Z. He is good with Adobe XD and he also has some design tutorials online on YouTube. You could always get started with courses online. So yeah. Manish, I'm kind of good with Canva. Is it really necessary to run Photoshop or Illustrator beforehand to apply for a design intern? Kind of confused. Manish, mostly in internships or any working companies, they use the Adobe Suite. I think mostly 90%. I'm not sure if people use Canva. It'll be good to learn Photoshop or Illustrator uh, beforehand to apply. Canva is good. Canvas also helps you a lot making posters, presentations, but I feel like people don't use Canva in the industry. So it's good to get comfortable with Adobe Suite. Trust me, Manish, it's not hard to learn Photoshop or Illustrator. I'm sure you'll be better than me in half an hour. So just look for tutorials online. If you want to make something, just search how do I make this. You're definitely gonna get an answer. You can create anything and everything on those two um, softwares. So I think what I'd say is if you guys want to learn tools for UI UX design, you can learn Adobe XD, Figma, Sketch. Adobe XD, Figma, Sketch, those are standard for UI UX. For graphic design, I'd say Illustrator is a must. Illustrator, you should know Illustrator in and out if you want to do graphic design or branding. And Photoshop is just necessary for both or either. So I'd say these are the software you could learn. Yoshida, design processes that would be helpful to any designer. Which one would you recommend for mockups, vectors, reference? Design resources. So for mockups, you find many mockups online, depending on phone mockups. There's a mockupworld.com. There's a lot of free mockups by a lot of designers. In my team, Vijay Verma, he creates amazing illustration kits, UI kits. So check him out. He's really amazing. Vectors. So there's also a website called freepik.com where there are free illustrations. So guys, when you use these free illustrations, always remember to check the agreement what the designer or creator has made. Sometimes they don't allow you to use it for commercial work, so just be a bit careful. But yeah, so those would be for reference. You can always look on Behance, Dribbble. Amazing work out there, guys. So if you want to look at a good case study on how it is presented, look at Behance. You'll find amazing projects there. So Behance and Dribbble will be your best friends for UI UX. Behance is also good for uploading all types of design like fashion design, graphic design. So Behance would be good for references, Freepik for vectors, and mockupworld.com for mockups. How did you create the AR prototype for Zucchini? I made it on Unity 3D. It's a software I learned in college. So I made Unity a tiger model and then made it stand out of a signage. That's how I created it. There's a tutorial online. Just DM me on Instagram. I'll show you how you can make it. Jayesh, can you tell me the difference between a master's in interaction design and HCI? So basically, interaction design covers a huge subset. All right, interaction design does not only mean interacting with devices, but also means interacting with humans to devices and stuff like that. So an interaction design degree also might contain stuff like game design, UI UX, web design, interaction, IoT devices, smart devices. So you'll be learning about Arduino and stuff like that. Whereas in HCI, you'll be learning about only human-computer interaction and how the human interacts with the computer. So HCI is more specific driven, and HCI might even fall into interaction design. So interaction design is a huge category and it has a lot of subsets inside it. So there's a lot of stuff in interaction design like game design, UI UX, IoT, smart devices. Yeah, I think this is what I can name for now. Yeah. What are the main differences in the kind of work you got to do at Zomato versus college work? Do you think college has brought you to par with the industry? That's a very good question, Tanvi. Okay, so I'll tell you what is good in design school and what is not. What's good in design school is you're allowed to explore all topics and go wild with your solutions, right? But in the industry, you can't do that. You need to think of realistic solutions and how you can implement them really quick and really fast. So when I came to Zomato, I had a bit of trouble collaborating with developers and asking them how do you do this, how do you do that. But I think it's all good and well if you can learn it on your own. That's something I feel like design school really misses out on, designing for business goals, designing for requirements which is realistic and which is possible. although the developers at Zomato are amazing, so whatever we create is pixel perfect. But it's really cool um, to understand like what are the difference between D school and college and what do you say, your workplace. So that's the only difference I would say is like you're not used to collaborating with business heads, developers, and different stakeholders basically. That's what you learn in the industry is what I felt. I hope that answers your question, Tanvi. Do you have any other questions?
Hello.
Hello.
Sir, I have a question.
Yeah, sure.
Sir, did you learn 3D modeling also?
Yes, I have learned 3D coding in my college days. I've learned Maya. I'm not good at it. I'm not good at it at all. But yes, I have.
So can you recommend which one is better, Blender or Cinema 4D or ZBrush?
So a lot of people are using Cinema 4D now because it's compatible with After Effects. So you can create like really cool interactions for UI UX. Like you can make a chair rotate. You can create like furniture which you can see. So I'm not too sure. I'm not too sure. You know, do this yourself. I'm not a expert in 3D modeling, but this is what I'm seeing uh, day to day, like on LinkedIn and stuff.
Nowadays, a lot of people are using like virtual reality showing in their UI. Like if they have a furniture shop or online website,
I've worked on
they
a couple of VR projects as well.
yeah,
So
it's really
I'm so sorry. Yeah.
it looks cool. Really. Means
Yeah,
it differentiates with the normal stationary UI.
definitely.
Like
So it's
people can connect with it.
yeah. It's not hard to create VR prototypes at all. So what you do is you have to install Unity, and whatever models you make from Maya or any modeling software, just dump it in Unity, and you have like a VR thing ready. You just have to. Trust me, just search on YouTube, you'll get it. I've also made like a real estate app on that, so it's not hard. Yes, that does. Okay, so I think Tanvi's answered it. Any other questions? What is difference web designer versus graphic versus UI designer? What skills requires to UI designer or UI UX designer? Because in Ahmedabad, both skills same aspirations. So I confused. Um, so ideally, uh, they shouldn't have the same skills. I'm not sure why that is. So usually the difference between a graphic designer and a UI UX designer is a graphic designer is mostly used for other digital content, like say maybe marketing ads or the print stuff. UI UX designer is someone who focuses on the interface. Um, Web designer does on web. Um, so usually the skills required for UI UX designer would be problem solving, stuff related to screens and stuff. That's what I would say. Um, Maybe the skills you mentioned are Adobe XD, maybe softwares like that, but I'm not sure why that is the case. I hope that answers your question, Sunny. Any other question, guys?
So can I?
Anything? Definitely go for it.
Yes, sir, one question. So like if we are choosing an app to read, like it's not redesign but design actually. Like we are making a notes application or music player application.
Right?
So is it important to design
I didn't get a question. Could you
basic
repeat it?
apps, basic screens? Like I want to design the music. Basic screen should be the music player home screen, the album list, or the settings. So
Okay.
should we design the whole process? Means all the screens which the app should consist, or the basic which the user will most often see?
Yeah. So it depends, right? So what are the most important screens you feel you could always put that in your project? If you want to create like an extensive prototype and show to people that you've designed, say, you've taken the effort, it's always good to plug it in. So say you have like around 12 main screens you've designed. you could use them in your project. And if you want to show that you've created 60 screens, you could always make a prototype and connect the screens and show people how it works. So I'd say
Okay,
that,
sir.
yeah. If you have the chance to prototype, please do prototype. It's something which shows that you've taken extra effort.
Okay.
All right. Next question, Kritika. Hi Rahul, can you please elaborate about the interview process at Zomato? All right, Kritika. So basically, this is how your process goes like in most of the companies, also at Zomato. One is they shortlist you to your resume and your profile wherever you apply. And based on that, they'll check your portfolio, they'll have a portfolio review, and then they'll have, if they like your profile, they will send you an assignment to do. All right. So it might be a design challenge which they give just to test you and see you if you can work to their needs and how is your design like, is it suitable for them. So they'll give you an assignment which usually you have a week to complete. Like Zomato had given me 7 days. Yeah, Zomato gave me 7 days. Even companies like Google, which I got the opportunity to design for their internship program, they gave me 7 days. So usually they give you 7 days, and then based on that, if they like your work, they'll call you for an interview. So you have an interview with the designers, you'll have an interview with the product manager, Zomato, and after that, they'll reach out to you and tell you that you've got the internship. So mostly it's like this everywhere. If you want to apply, they're going to check your resume portfolio. If they feel like they want to test you, they might even ask you to do assignments, which I feel like you should be open to do. So because it's not a waste of time. You can always use that project and post it online, and it's a bit of practice, right? So this is how mostly it goes when you apply for internships. Sunny, yes, done. Thanks. Okay. Any other questions? What qualities and skills should a good graphic designer have? A good graphic designer should design to the needs of the problem. So say if it's something which needs something to be read easily, so what is the font size which it should be? So a graphic designer should be really good in color and balance. Because this stuff has to look really good and really engaging. Should have good typography skills. Which fonts go well with each other? Good font combinations. Good fonts chosen for the specific problem or the specific reason of what they're designing for. So mostly visual aesthetic skills for good graphic designers, and good communication skills on how they can communicate a message which is on screen or which is on paper to conveying the message to a human mind or a user. So a lot of, even sometimes a lot of research, a lot of contemplating or just guessing what the user might think of when they see this. So good graphic designer should also be a good mind reader, in my opinion. So yeah, I hope that answers your question, Mukta. Any other questions, guys?
We'll have to end this by 8 o'clock, so I guess we can take in one or two questions, or else, you guys, if you have any more questions, you can reach out to Rahul on Instagram, and you can follow him on Instagram to see his work, and you can also follow his blog on Medium. He writes really good stuff on UX and design and stuff like that. And yeah, so if there is one more question, we can take it, or else we'll have to end this. And there's a fun quiz related to this or something else. Sayan will be telling you that. So we have this quiz on Kahoot, and Sayan, I guess I'll give it to you. I'll give you the cue just a second. Before that, Rahul sir, thanks a lot for taking your time out of your busy schedule and speaking with the students and stuff like that. So it was really cool to have you on board. It was really cool.
Thank you so much. Thank you so much, Manish. So I'll just
Yeah.
take one last question.
Okay, cool.
What brands do you most admire and how do they influence your work? I love brands like Instagram. So basically, I follow designers, not brands. Based on designer, I follow them. So some really cool designers are Dymus. See, he's on Instagram. He's a senior designer at Alibaba. My favorite designer is Johnny Vino. He's a product designer at Apple. I love Apple products. I love the design. It's amazing. Yeah. Thank you. Any whiteboard round or application critique round? I'm thinking we just screen it through and based on their relative experience and your skills. That's how they. I hope that answers your question, Ritika. Thank you, Manish. Thank you so much for calling me.
It was a pleasure, sir. It was really great having you here. I'm sure the students have learned a lot, and they can go back and try it out with their work and stuff like that. So yeah, students, you can reach out to Rahul, and I've dropped his Instagram before, or Rahul, so you can just put it again, and or if any other means of contact that you want the guys to reach you out with, and that will be it. And thank you so much.
Yeah, I've just sent in my Instagram. If you guys liked it or if you guys have any questions, feel free to reach out to me. All the best, guys. Awesome stuff.
Great.
You're killing it. All right.
Thank you, sir. Thank you for joining in. Thank you. Bye bye.
Thank you so much.
Thank you,
Bye.
sir. It was great.
Thank you
Thank
so
you. Thank you. Thank you.
And guys,